Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading an Arlecchino Executioner by me. So let's get into it. The wind howled softly, carrying with it the biting chill that had become all too familiar to you. The warmth of the blanket wrapped around your frail body was a stark contrast to the icy cold outside. You were sitting by the window, your gaze fixed on the falling snow, but your thoughts were miles away. "You're awake," came a soft, familiar voice from behind you, and you turned your head slowly to see Arlecchino, standing in the doorway. Her eyes, usually so sharp and calculating, were softened by emotions she rarely allowed herself to show. "I couldn't sleep," you admitted, your voice barely above a whisper. "The pain, it's getting worse." She crossed the room with silent grace, her every movement precise and controlled, as if she was afraid of disturbing the fragile peace of the moment. And when she reached you, she knelt beside your chair, her gloved hand reaching up to brush a stray lock of hair from your face. "I know," she murmured, her voice tight with emotion. I wish I could take it away." You smiled weakly at her, your hand trembling as you reached out to touch her cheek. Her skin was cool to the touch, and it was a reminder of the world outside. But beneath the coolness was a warmth that was hers alone. "You have done more for me than anyone else ever could. Being here with you, it makes everything a little easier." Arlecchino's gaze flickered downwards, as if she was struggling to hold back something. She took your hand in hers, squeezing it gently, careful not to hurt you. "You don't deserve this," she said, her voice barely audible. "Not you." He chuckled weakly, although it was more of a breathless sound than a laugh. "Life isn't fair, Arlie. You're always the one to tell me that." Her jaw tightened, and for a moment, she looked like the ruthless harbinger the world knew her as. But then she looked at you again, and the mask quickly fell away, leaving only a woman who loved you more than words could ever express. "Do you remember the first time we met?" you asked, trying to steer the conversation away from the pain that hung between you two like a dark cloud. A ghost of a smile tugged at her lips. "How could I forget? You were the only one, brave or foolish enough to talk to me without fear." "I saw something in you that day," you continued, your voice growing softer. "Something beyond that mask that you wear for the world. I saw you, Arlecchino. And you saw something no one else did. You made me feel different." You closed your eyes, leaning into her touch as she pressed her forehead against yours. Her breath was warm against your skin, a stark contrast to the cold seeping into your bones. "I don't want to leave you, but I know my time is running out." Arlecchino's grip on your hand tightened, and when you opened your eyes, you saw the anguish etched into her features. She was a woman who had faced countless enemies, who had taken lives without hesitation, yet now she looked as if the world was crumbling around her. "I would give anything to change this," she said, her voice cracking under the weight of her emotions. I would trade places with you if I could. You shook your head gently, a sad smile playing on your lips. And you know I wouldn't want that. You have so much left to do, so much left to give this world. I don't care about the world. I care about you. I can't. I can't do this, Ryan. Her voice broke, and she closed her eyes tightly, as if trying to hold back the tears threatening to spill over. Arlecchino, look at me, he whispered, reaching up to cup her face in their trembling hands. You have given me more love and happiness than I ever thought possible. You've made my life worth living, even in these final days, and that's more than enough for me. She shook her head, her eyes still closed. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. You could feel your strength waning, the exhaustion creeping into your limbs like a heavy fog. But you forced yourself to stay present, to hold on for just a little bit longer. I need you to promise me something, you said, your voice weaker now, and her eyes snapped open, filled with a desperation you'd never seen before. Anything. Promise me I'll keep going, you said, your words slow and deliberate. Promise me you won't lose yourself after I'm gone. Arlecchino's breath hitched, and for a moment you feared she might refuse. But then she nodded, a single tear escaping down her cheek. I promise, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion, and you smiled, although it was a fragile, fading thing. Good. That's all I need. And she stayed with you then, her hand never leaving yours, as the two of you sat in silence. The pain was still there, a constant reminder of what was to come. But in that moment, it felt distant, almost insignificant. All that mattered was that she was there with you. Her presence balmed your weary soul, and as you closed your eyes, allowing the darkness to take you, you knew that you'd never be alone, not as long as she carried you in her heart.